Well, we made it to Alaska, so now what are we going to do? After some planning that night, trying to figure out what we want to explore in Alaska, we counted up our days and added up our miles. Looks like we had enough time to both go down to Homer, Alaska, as well as all the way up to Prudhoe Bay. Matthew was still a little unsure about the 800 miles of gravel roads the Dalton Highway would be, but our plan was to go to the Arctic Circle, and if the weather was nice and the road wasn't too bad, we would continue on. Day 20. We woke up pretty late, as usual. Marie let us have whatever we want in the fridge, and she had cooked up some bacon before she left for church. We, of course, had some eggs and a real pan on a real stove. Such luxuries that we were not used to. We made a couple stops before heading to Homer. First, to Home Depot.
The best part about having really cheap gear, stuff that you did yourself, DIY, this whole thing here, well this whole thing, this part from here down, came off in the middle of the highway. And we couldn't find it, turned around, looked for it, couldn't see it. So we went over to Home Depot, spent $4, we're back in business, tighten it up, good to go. So we're debating making a attempt at the Dalton Highway. So Matthew didn't have a radiator guard, so we decided to try to fabricate something, and it looks like it just might work out pretty well here. Just got a metal grate, bent it in just a little bit, and I think he's going to have a better radiator guard than I will. Even has a bit of a foot guard here too. Should protect just about everything. Yeah. Our headlights don't have guards, but that's about it. If the headlights gets cracked open, we have enough of these little LEDs here that I don't think we'd get pulled over too quick on our way home. It'd be alright. Fabricate something on the way. Yeah, see how the weather clears up. It's kind of cloudy and rainy. But if the weather clears up, we might be able to make an attempt at a pass through there. See how it goes.
Next up was a very large and busy REI for a pole splint for our tent, as well as some bear spray and a head net for Matthew because the Alaskan mosquitoes are no joke. And finally we went over to MotoQuest to say thank you for writing their travel book and to tell them our plans for the next 9 days. They approved and wished us luck. We are doing the Kenai Peninsula all the way up to Prudhoe Bay, weather permitting, and then down to Chena Hot Springs and over to the top of the World Highway to cross into Canada. Finally, we left Anchorage at about 5 and then arrived in Homer at 10. We wanted to check out the Salty Dog Saloon, but unfortunately it was 21 and up only, so Matthew couldn't come inside.
So we didn't really want to get out the stove tonight. We got to the Homer a little bit late, and all the restaurants were closed because everything in Alaska apparently closes before 10, which is kind of ridiculous because the lights, it's past midnight right now. But so we couldn't eat anything here, which was kind of sad because there's a lot of good restaurants, but we'll try to hit something in the morning. Didn't want to cook a mountain house because we were cold. It's really not that cold, it's like 54. But after riding, we were wet, it did not work out very well. So now, we decided, we bought some cans earlier, we're going to have them in the morning, some chicken noodle soup I got, Matthew got something else, and we were going to just have those in the morning, but then, didn't want to have the mountain houses, so said we'd cook a can now. Didn't really want to get out the stove because that's more work and there's no tables or anything here except for what other people bring. So what we decided to do is we took the cans and we brought our neighbor's fire. There's a little bit left of it there, and we just threw them in the fire for a little while. Now we got nice hot cans of soup. So it's worked out pretty well. It's a pretty sight. Yeah, not too bad. There's a ton of people here though. Like, a lot. There's just a lot of people. But no. There's the tent.
The next morning, we ate at the Little Mermaid. We both had some phenomenal rockfish tacos. I met a group of people that were working with National Geographic. They were taking a group of about 15 high school kids around Alaska and teaching them about photography as well as the wildlife. Looks like a job that I would love to do. We drove back to Anchorage and stayed with Marie for one more night. She took us out to downtown Anchorage that evening and treated us to some incredible salmon at Sullivan's Steakhouse. Later we also found some glove liners and extra socks since we thought it might get colder as we went north. Day 22. It's the 4th of July. Marie made us even more bacon this morning. Thank you, Marie, for all you did for us. You really made our stay in Anchorage even more special. Back on the road. We were on Highway 3. We stopped to get a look at Mount McKinley, or Mount Denali, but clouds covered the top. Hot dogs from a gas station for lunch.
So today went pretty well. We went from Anchorage to Fairbanks. Yeah, pretty nice ride. It was pretty. Went through Denali a little bit, and we after talking to the MotoQuest guys, they said to check out college around here. They rent out dorm rooms, so we did, and it was far too expensive. They wanted $84 for just the two of us. That's kind of dumb for a dorm room. That the bathrooms aren't even there. So we went to the campsite, and much better. Normal campsite, $20. But then we saw one of the guys that we also talked to at the college to see. He was checking the prices there too. I talked to him, and then found him here, and he waved us down, let us stay at his camp, at his tent, that place he already paid for. And there's another guy here also on the KTM, and pretty cool. Talked to them. They're retired highway patrol for California, motorcycle highway patrol. Pretty awesome. Got some stories out of that, and yeah, they'll be riding around in here. The one guy might be going to the Arctic Circle tomorrow, but I think that's as far north as they plan on going.
By the time we got up, everyone had left, but kept their tents up as they were staying for another night. Mountain House meals for breakfast. Today we would start the Dalton Highway.
We just stopped to air down the tires a little bit. Kick them up a little bit. It's dirt and gravel road. The weather looks really amazing. There's a small bit of rain out that way. Going the other way, so should be able to stay ahead of that, no problem. I don't think it's even coming this way. So we're good. Yeah, this will be a fun trip. We'll pass by the Arctic Circle in a little bit, then on to Coldfoot for the night.
Airing down the tires from 40 psi to around 25 made a huge difference, making the gravel roads much smoother feeling. We took our pictures at the Arctic Circle. I didn't even have to ask Matthew if he wanted to continue. The road was much better than we expected, where the weather was absolutely perfect, and there were more vehicles on the road than we expected, and in terms of safety, that was overall a pretty good thing. So we continued on to Coldfoot for the night. The one building there was the restaurant, gas station, and store. They had a buffet, but it was $22 each. Oh, and gas was $4.60 a gallon. Since we got to the buffet just as it was closing, they gave us a deal for $10 each. She told us to get our food first, but then never bothered us again. So we ate for free, and yes, we said thank you as we left. So we're at the campsite tonight, and there's quite a few other bikers around, you can see. And most people here are either coming back from Prudhoe Bay, or they're going to there tomorrow. We're in Coldfoot, and nice little free campground. Always like free campgrounds. Yeah, it's only about 68 here right now. I think it's only going to be, even in Prudhoe Bay, I think it's the high of 64 tomorrow. So, pretty good weather, and there's even blue skies. So, couldn't be much happier with this. Bikes are running well. Should be good. Mountain House meals for breakfast, and I set up a time lapse of us breaking down camp. So, about to start the day, and
about 70, 74, 75 with some really bright sun. Probably do that for the video. And yeah, we heard there's quite a bit of construction at the very end of the Dalton Highway here, the last 80 miles or so. But other than that, it's hopefully going to be a pretty good day. It looks very promising so far, so we'll see how it goes.
Leaving Coldfoot going northbound was some of the best pavement we saw in all of Alaska, which is not what we expected, but it only lasted for about 40 miles. We saw some of the most beautiful scenery today as we climbed over the mountain range. Trucks had a very hard time with some of the inclines. They would often be doing as low as 10 or 20 miles an hour. There weren't too many animals on the road, but we did see some musk oxen. The last 50 miles was probably the hardest part. Construction didn't help. The annoying part of that was the road at the time was mostly shoe-sized rocks, and only doing 20 miles per hour over that didn't give us enough of the gyroscopic effect. Not to mention, we felt every single rock. Once that was over, we had made it to Prudhoe Bay, the end of the road, as far north as we could go. Prudhoe Bay Hotel cost $115 each for one night, but nice bathrooms, free laundry, and 3 meals a day, all you can eat. So they kind of made up for it. We woke up fairly early because breakfast ended at 8. I stuffed myself and fell back asleep until about 11. We hung around until 11:30 because that's when lunch started. Finally out by 12. We were going to do the entire Dalton Highway in one day, and we were starting at 12. Possibly not our best idea. The Dalton really was an amazing road. Huge potholes, loose gravel, crazy dusty, along with some of the best pavement in all of Alaska. Alright, here it is. The most beautiful riding footage I have ever captured. It was an absolutely spectacular day, and we were so lucky to experience it.
Silly drone. Oh, I got tangled. No damage. I love this thing.
Of me, people fight for survival. I'm chasing tails, I'm surrounded, can't stop for a second to breathe. My thoughts are flowing like water. One day soon I will find, I know I am close, I know I will shine. Back to the jungle.
Notice after we pass over the mountain range the trees come back, a very obvious scenery change that lets you know you're either entering or exiting the Arctic tundra. With about 100 miles to go on the Dalton Highway, we could see rain ahead. It ended up not raining on us at all, but it did rain where we drove, and it made the roads quite muddy.
Feeling alive, take me back to the jungle. Take me back to the jungle.
Since the sun doesn't set, it kind of looks like a constant sunset, which makes for some very beautiful skies.
Came all the way from Dalton, from Dead Horse, and drove all the way down into Fairbanks, which isn't too bad, but we got 12 o'clock start, so that made it kind of bad. When we were in Fairbanks, we went and got food at Denny's, and yeah, now we're right next to the Chena Hot Springs, and just found a little side. There were a couple other tents here, so we threw up our tent next to them. And I think it's about 3:30 in the morning. Oh, it's 4 in the morning, as you can tell, because you can't tell. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. We need to figure out what's going on with the chain. We think we've narrowed the clunking sound, which has gotten much worse. We think we narrowed it down to the chain, so we'll try to figure that out tomorrow, and we'll also jump in the hot springs, which will be very nice. Yeah, we got to see what the Dalton is like a little bit when wet. We didn't get wet on it, but it had rained just before, and you could see there was a whole bunch of mud, and the mud got everywhere, as it does. But yeah, other than getting pretty cold, it's been a pretty good day, so we'll see how tomorrow goes.
We took a sneak peek at the hot springs that night, and to our surprise and delight, we saw a moose just hanging around in the little pond. Thank you for watching part 3 of the Grand Alaskan Adventure. Please like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for part 4 as it will be posted soon.
Now we're one with the sun over our heads, and at night we'll be the stars. We can go